Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 271 of the Co-op Podcast. I'm your host, Richard Bailey Jr., and today I'm joined by Mr. Gary A. Swaby. How's it going, Gary?
It's going very well. Thank you very much, sir. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. It's been a very, very busy week here at the Koalition.com. Quite a bit of stuff being worked on behind the scenes, but all of that information will be out there soon, so stay tuned for that. Um, we
Indeed.
also, oh, go ahead, continue.
Oh, no, no. I was just saying indeed.
Yes. So we also might be joined by Mr. Tony Polanco this evening. I mean, we'll have to wait and see because everybody knows that today is a gaming holiday for those that are unaware. This is the day that Red Dead Redemption 2 has finally launched. So even as we are recording this show, I am going to find it very difficult to get through this show because I absolutely intend to go back to the game immediately afterwards. But we definitely wanted to make sure we had a show this week because there's quite a bit of news that went down. So it's going to be some interesting discussions from here on out. But yeah, we shall see if Tony shows up, and if not, I'm pretty sure he will definitely be on a future episode. So stay tuned for that. So before we get into the news, we're going to talk about what we have been playing this week. So Gary, how about you go first and let us know what you've been playing?
Oh, yeah. It's good that you went to me first because I can pass it right back to you because I only played Overwatch this week. So, yeah. No real update from me. Just Overwatch. That's it. Um, I,
So
I didn't even get Red Dead Redemption 2 yet, but I will get it at some point. And just seeing everyone talk about it as well is making me wanna, just buy it right now, kind of thing. But yeah, I haven't bought it yet, and I haven't played anything else besides Overwatch. So you guys will probably be disappointed in me, and I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is.
well, for those that are disappointed, just know that you can reach Gary on Twitter with your comments, and feel free to leave a comment and tell him which game he should play first between Red Dead, Spider Man. I mean, there's a whole list of games he still hasn't played, so definitely give your suggestions as to what he needs to play ASAP.
Yeah, definitely leave those comments and let me know.
Yeah. So as for me, yeah, I've had a very busy week ever since last Friday. I've been playing a whole ton of different games. So first and foremost, one of the games that I am playing, I will have a review for this game next week. It's this game called I hope I pronounced this last name correctly, Call of Cthulhu. This is a game that's made by Focus Home Interactive. It is a game that I believe Charles Singletary, who used to write for us, he recommended that I check out this game at E3. I didn't get to check it out at E3 at that moment in time because I had a busy schedule. But I have had a chance to play the game, and I have to say that this game is right up my alley. Pretty much, it's about a investigative detective that is trying to track down. He gets involved in this case that it takes place on. I mean, this actually takes place in Boston, off the coast of a mysterious island. But he gets involved in this case, trying to find out what happened to this family that was murdered. So he goes to the island, and you're doing all these different things like engaging in conversations with different characters. There is a bit of a lot of horror elements to the game as well, and some psychological horror stuff also. But what I can say of the game is so far what I played, and I played a substantial amount of the game. I'm planning to finish it tonight or tomorrow, depending on how much time I can devote to it. But what I can say of the game is it definitely is a game where I'm really concerned about it coming out this close to Red Dead Redemption and all these other games because I feel like a lot of people are going to sleep on this game, and I'm hoping that that isn't the case because the game really is fantastic. It looks incredible on the PlayStation 4 as well as the Xbox One. So for people who are interested in these investigative things where You have to figure out certain puzzles. Um, you have to investigate, and you're looking at different documents and figure out how something comes together and works. You will be doing yourself a great disservice if you don't check out this game. I understand you may not be able to check it out right now because maybe you just purchased Red Dead Redemption 2. That's totally fine. But this is a game that everybody absolutely, if you are into that type of stuff, detective games with a very good narrative, you definitely should play this game as soon as possible. Um, so that's all I'm going to say on that because I do have a review that'll be out next week. So I don't want to reveal too much else about the game, but I will just say stay tuned for the review. Should be out, I believe, on the 30th. Um, so that's one. Number two, I actually had a chance to play Marvel Spider-Man: The Heist DLC. That review actually was published on our website today, so feel free to check that out, and we will be sure to leave a link in the description as well for those that want to visit the website and check it out. But I gave the DLC an 85 out of 100. I personally think that it's a very good story that has to do with Black Cat, and there are some certain aspects of that particular story that where I think it very much teases what's going to happen in the future because again, this DLC is part of a three-part chapter. So chapter one, you pretty much you come into contact with Black Cat. There is the story is about this art piece that has been that has been stolen. You're trying to figure out why Black Cat is involved in all these different heists, and eventually you do get some answers about that, but you also get a lot of they do throw a lot of curveballs in there in terms of how she interacts with Peter, letting him know certain things that could change the course of the series moving forward. And then, of course, there is a cliffhanger ending that, if you haven't had a chance to play it yet, you definitely should avoid social media because everybody is going to be talking about that ending as well as some conversations that happen in this particular game between Miles and Peter because it pretty much is setting up not only to conclude this story, but I think it's also setting up whenever they work on the next Spider-Man game, which I would assume that's probably going to begin sometime next year if I had to make a guess. But without giving away any spoilers, I could say that it's a very good story. I mean, obviously, it's not over yet, so we need to see how the rest of the story pans out. I did feel, as far as criticisms, it definitely is short, but I mean, because there's so many games out right now, maybe you just want to play something that's short. I would say you'll be playing this for maybe about between 90 minutes and 3 hours just to play the actual story mode. And then, of course, they have a couple of additional things like they have these art pieces that you can collect that are located throughout the city. They also have different challenges that they similar to the challenges that they had in the last Spider-Man game, in the previous game, the base game rather. They do have these challenges, but this time instead of Taskmaster being the villain, is Screwball, which is a character that they had in the base game as well. So they do have a couple of those missions, little side missions, objectives, and then simple stuff like defusing bombs in the city and stopping a lot of the crimes that are in the city. Pretty much the same type of stuff that they had in the base game. So overall, as a package, I think it's pretty good. I mean, I still want to see where they take the story in the next two chapters, and we will get those chapters in November and December, respectively. They haven't actually announced any release dates for those chapters outside of November and December 2018. So once we get more concrete information, I will be glad to share it with everybody. But yeah, if you're a Spider-Man fan, if you've already gotten through the Game Plus mode, which was an update that they also released last week for free, and you want more content, then this definitely will keep you satisfied for just a little bit. Again, it is only about 3 hours, so but I mean you'll definitely get more trophies and you'll get three other Spider-Man suits. So it does offer something, and again the story is great. Black Cat, the way they portrayed the characters, fantastic. So I'm very curious to see what they do next in terms of the other DLC. But Once again, that review is on the website, so check that out if you are interested. Um, Two other quick things to mention, and then we can move on to the news topics. I did get an opportunity to play the Fallout 76 beta on Xbox One X. I do have a preview coming for that on Monday, so stay tuned for that. But what I can say right now is, and I'll be very honest, when Bethesda announced Fallout 76 before E3, I wasn't really too excited for it. I mean, I started to play Fallout 4, but this is, I don't really recall which other game came out at the time that was out. But I started playing it, and then I got caught up in another game, only because I figure with Fallout, when I look at all of the things that you can do in that game, it felt like it was a little overkill in terms of what you can do with the engineering stuff, and I didn't want to take the time to really, put my all into the game because there was some other things that were out at the time that I think caught my attention more. I don't really recall which game it was, if it was Wolfenstein or any of these other titles, because I mean there were so many games that came out at that particular time. But when they announced Fallout 76, I didn't really have any high expectations. I know that a lot of people was hyped for the game, so because I know it does have a following, but I didn't really know what to expect personally. So I started to play the beta on Xbox One X this past week. It was like a little, they had it up for about 4 hours on Wednesday night, and they did announce today that they're going to have it available once again this weekend, and then next week it'll be on PlayStation 4 also and PC. But after playing it for all about three of those 4 hours, I can definitely say that I'm 100% completely sold on the game right now. Pretty much all that I was doing in the beta in the very beginning. Obviously you come out of your vault. It does take place in Virginia, as the trailer stated, but you come out of your vault pretty much. You see the wasteland, a lot of dead bodies, a lot of mutated creatures, so on and so forth. And you're just basically looking for different things that you may need. You scavenge supplies, looking for food, stuff like that. One thing that I did notice, and I don't really know if this is something that was heavily influenced or heavily a part of the actual Fallout 4, because I know you finished Fallout 4, Gary, but there was one thing I did notice is that there were certain areas that they were telling me to go to advance the story, and you go to these different places that they're telling you to go to, and then they have audio clips. They provide stories as to some of the people that it gives you backstory as to some of the people that might have didn't survive when they had the when everything fell apart with the world, and then you also find out about other characters that went to that vault. But what I find interesting about that is, it really does provide an overview of certain characters, the type of lives that they lived before everything, went downhill. And it does have some, a bit of mystery to the element of you wanting to know if there are some people that have survived, will you ever cross paths with them in the actual game? From what I played so far, I did see a lot of other people that was in that beta that I did was able to interact with, and so on and so forth. But in terms of the actual story, like I'm curious to know if they are also going to have characters in this game that you'll be able to interact with outside of the actual robots. I didn't really see that quite yet, so we'll have to see how that goes. But what I played in the game so far is it pretty much is Fallout, but the fact that you're now able to play with your friends, I think, is the biggest element about it, because there was one particular event that they had where there were some creatures that were, you had to kill a certain amount of creatures that were trying to take over a certain part of the town, and I teamed up with some people who also were in the, that I was playing with, and we were able to take them out. So they do have different quests and stuff that you can do. Obviously, I didn't really see too much of that, because that was really the first time they had the beta was this week. So I will get a chance to jump back into it this weekend, see what has changed, see if there are going to be more activities in which that I can participate in with others. But I just think in the beginning, like I said, when I thought about the last Fallout game and how much you can do in that game, that was a little bit of overkill to me because I figured, well, this is just too much stuff to do. And then the engineering stuff, I felt like I needed to get a guide just to, like get a video guide or something just to know how to make certain things. But the best thing about it now is playing with friends. I mean, you can work together, you can make stuff together, you can participate in different events. I think that right there is a very big element of this game that I think a lot of people are going to like. And in terms of bugs that I might have experienced, I actually didn't experience any bugs um, of what I played so far. So hopefully that is something that continues. I mean, I know Bethesda has a reputation of they have a lot of bugs in some of their games, but so far I haven't experienced any glitches on my end per se yet.
That's
So
good to hear because that's all they actually like issued a warning to all the people who are going to be participating in the beta, and they actually like let them know specifically that there's going to be, bugs. So like you should expect spectacular new bugs and stuff like that. But it's good that you haven't experienced any of that. And also what you mentioned before as well, about the backstories to the people who were living in the world before, before the apocalypse and everything. um like that's one of the biggest selling points of the Fallout games, like just the level of discovery. Like you can just literally walk anywhere and discover something like discover something, and run into things from, before, from the previous world, basically before it became post-apocalyptic. One of the things that I was worried about with this game is whether like the whole online aspect would take away from that, and that it would become more about, doing things with other players, and the discovery aspect wouldn't be as deep. But from what you're saying, it seems like they're balancing it very well with the online stuff and still having some level of discovery. But I'm not quite sure if there's going to be like tons of NPCs and stuff like that as well. But I guess we'll wait and see.
that see, okay, so see that's good to know. And what I can say is I like I said, so far I've only had interactions with the actual robots. Um, I did interact with some of the other characters that other people were controlling, but in terms of there actually being other human characters, I didn't see any so far. And again, I only played about 3 hours of the beta. I spent a lot of time exploring. Pretty much going from different places, trying to collect certain items to craft different weapons. So I haven't spent too much time in it quite yet. But I think that what you said about them trying to balance the social aspect and with communicating with others and the discovery, I do think that they can definitely do that successfully, but we have to wait and see because again, I think after you play it for a certain amount of time and you get to see how things go, that'll be a better determining factor as to whether or not they can actually pull this off. But what I can say is playing alongside others is very fun. So I am hopeful that they are going to have different things that they're going to do to make it more interesting and inviting for more people. But I definitely was skeptical when they announced the game, but I can say that I'm definitely looking forward to the game now, and I will spend more time in it this weekend, and definitely will give some updates, some updated thoughts next week. As I said, there will be a article on the website on Monday, as well as I may talk more about it on the next co-op because I will have had more time in different sessions. So, but so far I could say if you're looking forward to Fallout 76, you probably might I don't think you'll be disappointed with what the game does have to offer, and it looks fantastic. Graphically, it looks awesome too. So stay tuned for that. And finally, my very last game because I didn't want this to last too long, but I'm telling you, hey, it's been a very busy week. My very last game, Red Dead Redemption 2, a game that I know has been getting tens from multiple publications across the board. Currently has a Metacritic of 97. and is rated as a must play game. I've played, I want to say maybe between 8 and 10 hours so far. Um, the game is fantastic. I mean, there's so much in this game, and I've only started playing it since yesterday, so I really am not in a position to talk about every single thing that the game does right. But I could just say that there's so much about the game that is fantastic. You know, from an open world perspective, um, it definitely feels like a really immersive experience. I mean, simple stuff is you can walk into a house. Um, you have to grab a lot of items, a lot of looting you have to do. And I know that this is something that our very good friend Edward V complained about today in our other chat. But I mean, I honestly, the game is just there's so much to this game. You know, I all the hype that it's getting online is worth it. Um, from what I gather, one thing I will describe, if I can describe one aspect about the game that I really enjoyed, found interesting. I mean, we know in Grand Theft Auto games how it's very easy for you once you get a wanted status. You know, it has that whole thing where it rises over time. You know, you can get up to 5-star status, and then you have everybody coming after you. Well, in this game, I had an incident last night where there was a store in the town. This is within chapter 2, where I discovered that they were running an illegal business in the back room of the store. So I walked into the store, and I wasn't able to go into that back room because when I tried to go back there, the guy at the cashier stuff, hey, he said you can't do that. So I held him up at gunpoint and told him that to get me in that back door. And of course, when I went back there and the guys discovered me, yeah, there was a shootout that ensued. There was also a woman back there who played the victim as if, hey, please don't hurt me. And then she pulls out a gun and starts shooting at me. So after killing them, you know, and stealing the money and all the other stuff they had back there, at that point, the authorities were after me. So I tried to escape, and I figured that I can obviously run out of the area, you know, because normally on the map you can run out of a certain area and then you can evade the police altogether. However, that wasn't happening, and they were still running after me even after I had gotten to a certain period on the map. So what happens next is I decide, well, let me just start shooting the officers. So I shoot the officers, and of course the bounty
Oh,
amount increases. You know, the bounty amount increases. So eventually, though, they eventually got me. Though eventually they were able to kill me. I came back. The bounty was still on my head. So I'm off doing other things in different parts of the land, and then all of a sudden, I recall this instance where I go I killed the bear, skinned the bear, gave the meat to a trapper so he can turn it into like another fur or costume that I can wear. And as I'm turning around, that now bounty hunters are after me, trying to kill me. And the thing is, again, until you actually pay the bounty, then the bounty will just continue. And it doesn't matter if you go to like another region of the land, the bounty is still active. So it's yeah, it definitely will make you pay for stuff. But then there are also instances in the game where you can be just simply doing a mission. Like they have this mission where one of your people or one of the outlaws on your team tells you we need to get money from people that owe us money. So they have you track down these people that owe money. And if there is a witness or somebody that sees you robbing that person, they can report you to the authorities as well. And then you have the police after you all over again. So you definitely have to be smart about what you do. And if you do commit a crime, you have to make sure it's in an isolated area where no one else can see you.
yeah,
Uh,
I heard if you kill the witnesses, then you get away with it as well, because then there's no one to snitch on you. So that's pretty cool.
I had an option last night of whether or not I wanted to kill a witness, and I decided that I harassed them a little bit, but then I ultimately let them go. Within seconds after that, I got reported. So never again will I trust a witness. And they have to get taken out immediately. It has to happen.
Snitches are
Uh,
gonna snitch.
yeah, no, you're right about that. You're right about that. Um, But yeah, the game is fantastic so far. I'm looking forward to diving into it more, and I definitely will have a lot more extensive things to say the next time around. Because again, I only started playing this game yesterday. I am aware that there are a lot of people that got the game early last week, and there were a lot of reviews that went out yesterday. But again, I just received the game yesterday, so I don't really have too much to say yet. But I could definitely say the experiences are great. There is an incredible amount of things to do in the game. The acting, the character interactions, everything is just awesome. And then of course the way you have to maintain your horse, maintain your character, because you do have to shave in the game. You know, unless you just want to keep a beard all the time, you do have to shave and shower, hygiene, all this stuff. You have to do this in the game. Otherwise, it definitely impacts how you interact with other characters. Rockstar has definitely thought about a lot of details. I know we had that conversation last week about the people talking about the crunch. I understand. There's no doubt about it. They spent a lot of time working on this game, but I think that it ultimately is going to pay off. It has already paid off for a lot of people. So I definitely looking forward to spending more time with the game. And for people who are even remotely interested in the game, I will highly recommend that you check it out because you may have a couple of different experiences of your own that really stand out to you. But it's definitely something that you definitely should play ASAP. If there's one game you get this year, this might have to be that game, depending on the type of games that you like to play. But that's uh, that's all I have to say for the moment as far as what I've been playing this week. Yes. So
I need to catch up.
oh yeah, absolutely. I think people in the comments will tell you, oh yeah, Gary, you got to play some other games, but they got to have the suggestion as to what you should play first. Because but Red Dead is great, Spider Man is great, Call of Cthulhu is really good. Um, so I don't know. This is a great time to be a gamer. I will say that we have a lot of great content out right now. So definitely make sure that you make some time to play some of these games because they're a lot of fun. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump right into the news topics because we do have quite a bit to get into for tonight. So the first topic is we found out this week that Microsoft is officially bringing Games Pass to PC. So, Gary, I wanted to get your thoughts on this particular news, as well as any other details you might have regarding this news that Microsoft made this week.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was already on PC, but there I guess it was kind of because it was only like exclusive Xbox games that you can play on PC. Basically, those were what you could already access on PC. But now this is going to be like the full thing, so you'll have access to all the third party stuff as well that's on Xbox. So yeah, the fact that they're looking to roll it out properly on PC, that's a big deal. And I'm hearing that they included this in their sales projections for quarter one 2019 or whatever. So they're planning to really promote this and have it be like a major thing that brings in revenue for the Xbox brand. So it looks like they're they definitely want to support Windows a lot and gaming on Windows. This is probably going to amp up their competition with Steam now, because if people can get if people can pay $10 and get access to a lot of these games, then it's like on Steam you're still paying for the full price for the game or whatever, unless there's like a sale or something. So yeah, I mean this is gonna amp up that little competition that they've been having with Valve, which is interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out. But yeah, this is good overall. And yeah, I just hope that Halo comes to PC as well. Like I hope we get the last Halo that came out and the new one. I'm sure we'll get the new one, but it'd be nice to play the old one too, because that's like one of the ones I didn't play. I played the one before, but I didn't play it. The last one was Halo 4, right? Or was it 5? I can't remember.
Yeah, I believe Halo 4.
Yeah, Halo 4.
Oh no, no, Halo 5 Guardians. That was it.
Halo
Yeah.
5. Okay, yeah, Halo 5 is the one I didn't play. I played Halo 4. So it'd be nice to play that, before Infinite comes out. Um, but yeah, this pretty good. Good
Well,
news.
I do want to make a comment though. Halo 5 Guardians. It's not.
I heard mixed things about it.
I just want to make this very clear. The game, if you're hoping that you're going to play as Master Chief a lot in this game, then you will be very disappointed because it's more so about Spartan Locke, and Master Chief does play a role in the game. It's obvious though what they're building though with Halo 6. So I still do believe it is something that you should play in terms of understanding the story to see what the direction that they're heading in with the next game. But it's definitely if you think you're going to play as Master Chief for most of the campaign, then you will be very very disappointed. Um, but with that said, the multiplayer is fantastic. I think that is the single best element of the Halo 5 Guardians game. That multiplayer is off the chain. I know a lot of people that are still playing that today. A shout out to Mr. Max Muller because I know he's playing that. But yeah, that multiplayer is the best. I think that's the best multiplayer they've had since a lot of the older games. But that's just my personal opinion. Um, as for the Game Pass, the PC thing, I think it's great for PC gamers. Um, I do think eventually that the next Halo, that will be coming to PC. But I don't. But I don't know if that's coming next year or in 2020 because Microsoft has not given any release dates for any of these other titles. Obviously they do have an event that's coming up, I believe, in 2 weeks, that EXO event, which is taking place in November. So I'm very curious to know what they're going to show at that event. A lot of people have downplayed it and said they're probably not going to show anything major, but I don't think that's the case because again, there's no PSX this year. The Video Game Award show is in December. That's about it. So I think Microsoft very well could show something big at this event. Um, a great big exclusive. Talk about other studios that they have acquired. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing what they talk about. But in terms of this particular news, I think it's great for PC gamers. It gives them more options as to whether or not this is going to be the competition for Steam. Well, I think Steam is far ahead in this particular race, but I do think that over time we will see if more people decide to pick up the service. That's going to be what determines everything. But one thing I will say for sure about Game Pass, and the one criticism that I have with it is that I definitely want Microsoft to announce a lot more exclusive games in the future that are going to be a part of this service. Now, obviously, State of Decay 2, Sea of Thieves, Forza, all of these games are part of Game Pass this year, which is great. But out of that list, in my personal opinion, Forza is really the only standout game. I'm not saying that to talk badly about State of Decay or Sea of Thieves, but to me, in terms of a game that I saw immediately and I wanted to play right away, that game obviously Forza Horizon 4. So I'm hoping next year when they drop Gears 5, maybe if they drop Halo Infinite next year, I have no idea when they're dropping it, but whatever the other titles are, oh yeah, Crackdown 3, when they drop these titles, I definitely think that even more people will want to pick up Game Pass for that reason. A lot of people have already subscribed to the service, including me, so it does offer a lot of value for it. But if I'm thinking about specifically exclusive Xbox games, they definitely need to add more to their on there over time. So I'm curious to see what they announce and what they add moving forward from here on out. But yeah, the fact that it's coming to PC, I think is great. It's great for everybody on PC to have other things that they can play. And it definitely makes me think that Microsoft is thinking beyond consoles with Xbox. So we will see what happens with them in the future regarding the uh, the service as well as the games.
Indeed.
But yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
And just to add on to that, I've heard I saw a headline recently that the the overall sales for Xbox have gone up recently. So I guess that's good that they're making some good moves right now. They're making, I guess you could say they're making the right moves for the Xbox brand because it is improving now. And they are doing a lot better than they were like a year or two ago. So yeah, they're making moves now.
Oh yeah, I mean I think despite a lot of the stuff that happened when they first announced that system, this generation, Phil Spencer has done a phenomenal job with trying to really, right the ship and do a lot of great things for the brand. I think a lot of stuff that he has done for the actual fan base has been even more. I think he's done a lot more for Xbox than pretty much anyone that has been in that position so far. So I definitely am optimistic about their future. My only complaint was this year I didn't feel that there was enough quality exclusive games. Forza, and we're going to get into that later. Forza charting on MPD, that is a fantastic news because I wanted that game to chart. Now, obviously, I wanted it to chart higher than it did, but just to know that it's on that list is a great thing because Playground Games, they make some really, really great games. So I think they definitely need to have more attention on them. And when the last Forza game came out, I don't really recall it charting, so I'm glad that this definitely charted. It shows that people are definitely taking note. And this in Forza Horizon 4, I think is the best, without a doubt. That is the best Forza game right now. No offense to the Forza Motorsport series, and I have reviewed those games on the website. But this game is just these other games, which have the open world elements to it. It's just a lot. I think it's a lot more fun, in my personal opinion. So glad to see that it's charted. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens with Xbox moving forward. Um, but that's pretty much all I got to say about that. Definitely looking forward to the XO event in November, and hopefully Microsoft does have some more great announcements coming for the brand in the future. So we'll see about that. But any other thoughts before we move on to the next topic?
Nah, that's it for me.
Okay, so let's give a disclaimer because this topic may get controversial. You might get some hate behind this. Um, so the last show we spoke about the PlayStation name, the PSN, the ability to change your name finally being an option after a long, long, long period of time. And then we find out this week that there are a lot of disclaimers that have been released as far as problems for people who are already in the beta right now for this name changing option. So, Gary, how about you tell us more details about what these disclaimers are and what people are complaining about?
Yeah. So there's a lot to say here. There's a lot to unpack. Um, First of all, I find it weird that there's a beta to change your name. Like that should just be a feature that's patched into, the multiple system updates that they have like every month. They should just patch this straight into one of those. It should be an easy thing. But nope. PSN is it's never that simple. So yeah, so the beta is an opt-in thing that you can do if you want to be a part of this of changing your name and testing it out and everything. But the disclaimers that they issued regarding this look very very unappealing. And let me just read through some of these disclaimers so you guys will know. The image is actually on the screen right now, but I'll read it out. So first one is not all games and applications for PS4, PS3, Vita, and other PlayStation systems support the online ID change feature. Okay, cool. Uh, next one is if you change your online ID, you may lose access to content, including paid for content that you have acquired for your games, including content like add ons and virtual currency. Interesting. Also, you may lose your progress within games, including game save data, leaderboard data, and progress towards trophies. Also, parts of your games and applications might not function properly, both online and offline. And the last one is your previous online IDs may remain visible to you and other players in some places. So your previous online ID. Um, so yeah, very interesting there. So basically, if you paid for online content and add-ons and DLC, there's a chance that you could lose that content by changing your name. And also, you may lose save game data by changing your name. And parts of the games and applications might not function properly. So those three right there, like that's really mind-boggling to me. How changing your name can affect that much. This really should just be a simple thing. There should be like a background function that just finds and replaces, the online ID. It should be as simple as like, because I understand that there's games that probably read that data, but there should be an easy way to just like overwrite that data so that it displays something else. Like I would imagine it's, you know, sort of kind of simple. I mean, obviously, when you're dealing with coding, it's never really simple because it's something you have to learn and practice and understand. But, on other services, they get this right straight away. So I don't know what kind of OS or system Sony have built here, but yeah, changing your name could make you lose data that you've paid for and and content that you've paid for, which is interesting. But Richard, what's your thoughts on this disclaimer? And are you interested in taking part in this beta?
Well, first and foremost, to answer that last question, absolutely hell no, I am not interested in taking a part in this beta. Um, when I created my PSN account, I think believe it was around the same time I created my. Well, no, I had the Xbox account already, so I kept the same name, which is Sir Rich a lot. I like that name. I think it suits me well because my name is Richard and I like to play a lot of games. So I figured that name was appropriate. So I don't have any plans to change the name. For those though that definitely want to change their name, I personally think that this is I personally think that this is unacceptable. That you would lose any content, any of this information from a name change. And I hate to say this, but I have to keep it real. I'm pretty sure I will get some hate for this particular comment, but I have to say that it is a bit of disappointment because I feel like if you are intending to release a new feature that you think is a great feature, um, you really should take time to perfect that feature and make sure that it works properly before you release it. I mean, we live in a time now where there are a lot of, you can talk about a lot of video games that are released and certain aspects of the game are not exactly completed. So as a result of that, the devs will release free DLC later or add certain features later to further the experience because it wasn't ready at launch. I feel like with this particular thing, though, because this is a feature that everybody has been wanting and requesting, Sony really should have taken their time to make sure that everything works properly. Now, obviously, we're talking about the beta here. I would hope that the actual final version of this doesn't have that issue. But if it does have that issue, I would say they did a horrible job, and they really should have taken their time to really get this right because you don't want to mess that up for those that actually care about this feature. Like I said, I don't care about the feature, but I just think from a business standpoint, the customers have been loyal to you. They have been buying your products and using PlayStation Plus, PlayStation Now, etc. So you should at least honor them by making sure that when you do release this, everything is great and it works properly as advertised. So I definitely think Sony should address this issue, make sure that it isn't what ends up in the final version of the actual when they actually do release the final version, um, because I think people would definitely be angry about this. There are some that may not care about it too much, but I personally would definitely care about this. So hopefully Sony gets it together. But this isn't good. This isn't good in my opinion because I haven't really. I mean, like I said, there are people that release products that aren't all the way complete. That happens all the time in this industry now with video games. Um, and then of course they fix it later. But this particular issue here, I really think that this will hurt a lot of people if they release this, the final version of this, and it has these type of issues. Oh yeah, I think that they will see a backlash from the community, no doubt about it. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, that like you can revert back to your original online ID. I think in the beta you can do it whenever, but like in the final version, I believe you'll be restricted to like 2 weeks or some sort of period like that, to where you can revert back to your old ID. And reverting back will supposedly fix these issues if they do occur. Um, and yeah, I mean, I hope so. I would hope so that reverting back would fix
Well,
those issues if you do get them. And also, I mean, just I mean, I still think this is crazy, but just to see it from Sony's perspective a little bit. I mean, the beta is kind of their huge test for this, I guess. So like they're probably planning to pick up a lot of these bugs here and then fix them before the final version. And I would hope that that is the case. That this is just their way of testing all the different bugs that are going to happen once these name changes occur, and then they can smooth things out so that there's no bugs at all when it finally rolls out. So I mean, I hope that is the case, but still, this is something I'm shocked about, like, because this shouldn't even be necessary. But yeah, hey,
I will say, I guess the beta's purpose is to test to make sure things are working properly. But as you said, when the final version rolls out, this cannot be a issue whatsoever. Because I mean, people who care about their save data, they will not like this at all. So Sony definitely needs to look into this. Um, and I would say if they need to take more time to perfect it, then maybe they shouldn't release a final version until they have fixed this problem completely. But again, we will see what happens. I mean, I know that this is something that people have been asking for quite some time, and I guess Sony decided that they finally wanted to address this. But as I say, it's a good idea to address a concern, fix a problem that people want fixed. But you have to make sure that this works properly, because if it doesn't, then that's going to be a disaster for them. Um, but okay, but again, it might blow over. You never know. It might blow over because some people may be like, well, I don't really care about this, but it definitely is going to anger some people if they release it as is, if in the final version. So we'll see what they decide to do.
yeah, yeah, we'll see. If you're one of those people that are gonna try this out, then definitely let us know. And let us know why you want to change your name too, because I'm interested in, like, because there's a lot of stories about people spelling their name wrong, and you know like just making silly names that they regret and stuff like that. So I want to hear some stories about people and why they want to change their name. So
Yeah, exactly, definitely. All right, so let's move on to the next topic, because I'm pretty sure you got a lot to say about this topic.
hmm
So, Electronic Arts. This is by far, I believe you told me, one of your favorite companies that you have ever, you like all their titles. Mass Effect Andromeda, that was at the top of your list as the must play game for, I believe it was last year when that came out, right?
oh hell no, I mean, they are one of my favorite companies to talk about. Yeah, but not one of my favorite companies.
Absolutely. Well, we did receive some news this week and the ongoing changes that are taking place at EA, and that is that Jade Raymond has officially left EA. Now, for those that need some context, Jade Raymond was working on a action adventure series for EA, and I believe that she also was working with Amy Hennig at one point on this Star Wars project. So now she is no longer part of EA. So this isn't looking too good for EA as a company. But we actually would just have just been joined now by Mr. Tony Polanco. How's it going, Tony?
It's going great, man. Better than Jade Raymond, who I'm assuming you guys are talking about now. Yo, it's crazy. By the way, thank you for having me on. I'm sorry I should have been here earlier, but Red Dead got me. So, and it's funny because I was talking to Rich. I'm like, yo, Rich, we're gonna do co-op today. He's like, yeah, we'll be on. I start playing this game. That's it. Hours just passed by, man.
I totally understand,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
Yeah, you know how it is. But yeah, no, we were talking about this on Throwdown last night. And, I don't know if you guys brought this up, but it's kind of interesting to me how EA, they just like had two of the most prominent like women in gaming just leave them, Very interesting that they like, and the thing is that I don't think they were fired, I think they left because of EA's, business practices or whatever, so it says something. It's like you guys can't even hold on to top talent like that. Not doesn't look good for them.
Yeah, I agree. Like this says a lot, behind the scenes without saying a lot, because obviously we don't know the specifics, but it's
Yeah.
very telling that both Amy Henning and now Jade Raymond, who were both working a part of the same team and everything and on the same project, and just suddenly, like within the span of a year or whatever it was, like they're both gone. Like it's very telling that something is going on at EA, and they have all these Star Wars games in development. It's getting confusing. So I would like to know all the dirt that's going on personally, but we're probably never going to get that because of non-disclosure agreements and things like that. So
You better get Jason Schreier on this, man. That's all I'm saying. Maybe he'll figure it out. But yeah, no, and this is just my personal theory. I think, EA was probably telling them like you got to put microtransactions, all this other stuff in their games, and they're probably like, no, we don't want to do that, and they dipped. Purely speculation on my part, but I believe that may have had may have been a contributing factor, because EA, that's all they really seem to be about now. It's like the single player game like doesn't really seem to be a thing for them anymore, not
yeah.
really.
Yeah, we know Amy Henning wants, like, she focuses on making good, like, story-based single-player games and stuff. So I can see how that might have been a big conflict, like if they're trying to push loot boxes and microtransactions and online and all this stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, it's sad. It really is, man. Like, and again, it's like people may forget this, right? There actually was a point in time where people liked EA. People loved EA back in the day. It's like, is there any way we could ever get that company back? Like the company that did all these like ill games, diverse type of games, a lot of sports games, a lot of action games. Like, what happened to the EA like of before? It just seems like they're just out there trying to grab money, and it's crazy because I'm old school too, just like you guys love EA, and speaking professionally, and you guys could account for this too. They treat us very, very well. I don't want to be saying all this stuff about EA, but you gotta assess the situation in an honest manner, and I don't think you could. Anybody could come in here and be like, oh, everything's fine with EA. No, something is clearly going wrong,
Oh, I agree 100% that yeah, there's a lot going on wrong at EA. There's one question that I want to ask you both. I'm not going to go too much off topic, but based on what has now happened with Jade Raymond and Amy Henning deciding to leave, if that's what they decided to do you think that this is all a sign that we are a couple of months away now from hearing that, well, BioWare is now closed, getting shut down because Anthem did not perform the way that we expected it to?
Man, that's something I've been saying since like, every what was the last studio they closed down? Visceral, right?
Yep.
Like the last big one. Ever since that, I was like, listen, man, if Anthem underperforms, I feel bad for BioWare. They may not exist. So I think you have a point there, man. I don't know, Gary. What's your take on that, man?
To me, BioWare doesn't even exist anymore already, to be honest.
Damn.
Like to they to me they're like a shell company at this point. Like they're just EA to me at this point. Like, just another little label under EA kind of thing. But the real BioWare hasn't existed for me for a while. And yeah, I could definitely see it happening though if Anthem underperforms, like maybe they'll just do away with the BioWare label, and maybe they'll keep the people who work there and just put them in another division or something, something like that. But yeah, I mean, BioWare hasn't existed for me for a while, so
And you know what, dude? I can't blame you, man. Like I'm thinking about it right now. Like the Bioware, like my Bioware, yeah, they haven't been existed for a while. I think the last good game they put out was Inquisition, because we don't speak about Andromeda around here. you know,
yeah,
it's sad, man. It's really sad because remember the glory days of Bioware, man. Mass Effect, Dragon Age. Like what the fuck, man? And a lot of people believe it's because of EA, and I can't disagree with that assessment.
yeah, yeah. I mean, their whole agenda changed, and it just kind of affected and trickled down to all the studios that are under them. It seems so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Damn,
it's a
man,
shame.
fucking, it really is, man. And Activision's not too far away from that either. It
Uh-oh.
yeah. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying, like, I understand. You got to make your money. That's your primary, like objective as a company. But you got to like, if you want to keep making money, you got to please your fans. That's the whole, reason you exist. So you got to find a balance. You can't just be greedy all the fucking time like that.
That's true. No, you're 100% right about that.
Yeah. What do you think, Rich?
Oh no, I agree with pretty much everything that you and Gary pointed out. There definitely is stuff going on at EA. There's no doubt about that. And even though Amy Henning won't go as or Amy Henning or Jay Remy, even though they probably will not admit that microtransactions played a factor, I think obviously EA is making a lot of changes. Um, I find that interesting because I know EA for the longest time that they've tried to acquire a lot of different studios. They said they wanted to have their own version of Assassin's Creed. That was the whole reason why they picked up Jade Raymond to work on an action adventure series. So now I don't really know what's going on with that project. I know she said that these projects are still in development. So, but I just find it interesting how they wanted Assassin's Creed. You get the person who knows this series inside out, and then you find a way to mess up that relationship to the point where she has to leave. So that's not good. But with that said, I do hope that EA. I hope that I'm wrong about Bioware. I hope that EA is able to turn things around because I actually want a reason to go to EA Play 2019 next year.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
Yeah, we here's some insider baseball for you people. Me and Rich were discussing that literally the day afterwards. Like, yo, man, we're not gonna do this next year, man.
oh no, yeah, because they have some issues this year. Then the show itself was not. This is not, a lot of people they know people who have been asking for certain games, and then they said no, we're not doing that. So the show was a little disappointing. There was a few games that looked pretty good. Some of the independent game, I can't really think of the name right now. Look really good, but yeah, I hope they have a better show next year. I hope that they actually have some quality titles coming after Anthem. But we'll see what happens. It's all resting on whether or not Anthem is a success. Because if that's not a success for Bioware, that's a problem. And I think Bioware. I would hate to see Bioware go down, but it definitely can happen. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's troubling, man. But my thing is like, even if BioWare, like, let's just say, speculatively, they leave EA and do their own thing. It's like, would they still be the BioWare of old? I don't even know about that.
That's true. That's a valid point.
Yeah, I
That's a
mean,
valid question.
I don't know how many of the older faces are still there. I know Casey Hudson came back, didn't he? I think.
Yeah, he
He's
came back.
Microsoft now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because remember, was it the main two dudes that founded Bioware? They left after Mass Effect 3. You know, after all that shit that happened.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't even know if they could go back to being old Bioware, but I mean, at least they would be free from EA's, you know, plans or whatever, and they could do their own thing and figure it out for themselves, I guess. But yeah, I don't think they'll ever be the same as they were.
Yeah, no, you're right about that, man. It's crazy. And my thing is like, because I'm like, if they go independent, then they're gonna have to slash their budgets. So I don't know, man. But and then at the same time, it's like if you're like a company that's on Bioware's level, maybe a little smaller, I'm like, yo, imagine EA comes to you. You have to in the back of your mind be like, oh shit, if we don't do well, they're gonna kill us. So like what do you do? It's like, yeah, the EA money's nice, but if you underperform, that's it. How many? I mean, EA is like, they're like, I hate to say this, they're a developer murderer. How many fucking development have they killed? Shit.
No, you're right. Because yeah, man, I very much enjoyed the Dead Space series,
Yeah,
and
man.
I was hoping that there was going to be another one, but then when I heard about Viscera, I said, well, that sucks. So yeah, if it happens with Bioware, that would be devastating for me to hear that news. Because Mass Effect, that was one of the games that I enjoyed. Well, definitely the franchise I enjoyed most last generation. So if they're gone, then that will not be good.
Yeah,
Um,
I do think if they do kill off BioWare, that will be heavily publicized and people will be angry about it. So
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's gonna look really bad. But it's like, what is EA gonna do? Because they have a track record of this shit, just killing companies. So would they be like, okay, they didn't make us money, but we don't want to look bad, so we're gonna just keep them around? I don't know. I hope they don't shutter them, but this is EA we're talking about. But yeah, I know you're right. Like the media like storm would be insane.
yeah, for sure.
yes, it would. So on that note, uh, I hope that everyone is planning to pick up Anthem next year, and we'll see whether or not. I mean, I didn't get a chance to play the game, so I don't know what to expect from the game. So we'll have to wait and see. But hopefully that does not disappoint for Bioware's sake.
Yeah, but the thing about Anthem, I feel if that game's gonna be a success, it's gonna probably come through word of mouth because, like, I don't know about you guys, but from my standpoint, I don't even see excitement for this game at all. Like, I don't see anybody hyped for this. Is anybody in this room right now hyped for it? I'm gonna
Oh,
answer for everybody here. No,
Nope.
come on, Rich, you ain't excited. Gary ain't excited either. Come on, son. It's sad. It's like okay, because for a game to be at least a success, you need to have hype behind it. No one's hyped for this fucking game.
no, you're right about that.
Or am I wrong? I don't know. Maybe there's some motherfuckers out there. Oh man, hype! It's gonna be the illest shit ever. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
That was that's a good question because I'm not sure what the response was from the people that saw EA play. All I heard is that they was not impressed with that stream, but I didn't hear anyone say anything about Anthem. So I don't know if there were some people that was impressed with what they saw of Anthem at their presentation because we were there, so we didn't get the reaction of the actual people watching at home to know whether or not they are looking forward to this game. But I did hear a lot of complaints about the presentation as a whole, so that's not good.
Yeah, like Gary, you as a Bioware fan, are you even like remotely excited about this?
No, not at all, to be honest with you. Like, because it just to me it just screams like, oh, we want to do this thing like Destiny, where we can basically find ways of making people take out their wallet and spend more money. Like so that's what it looks like to me. And what they've shown, I mean, it looks beautiful and everything. But it seems like it's not heavily story focused like BioWare games are, and it's more focused on the online social aspect and doing things together. And there's like a million games like that now. So I mean, there's like no unique appeal for me. I think the people excited for that game are in the minority, to be honest with you. Um,
Yeah.
and like let me ask you guys this though: are people excited for Battlefield? Because I don't even hear any hype about that.
Yo, nah, I don't hear any excitement. I mean, and you guys, I'm pretty sure you reported on this. You know how the pre-order sales were like 85% down from the other game. It's like wow,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
or at least compared to Call of Duty, but that's still bad, dude. It's like, but you're right about that. Like I'm thinking about it, I don't really see any hype for this game at all. You know, which is crazy because I played some of it. The War Stories that was very well done. You know, I always felt that Battlefield was a better franchise than Call of Duty. Oh God, you said it. You know, but it's true.
You
But they fucked up though. Like what was it? One of the Dice guys. He's no longer there. He came out. And by the way, you know, publishers, executives, please do not tell people to not buy your game. They may take you up on that offer. You know, that's what happened. People were, were worried that, they were virtue signaling or whatever with this game, and they were like, "Oh, you guys are a bunch of bigots. Don't buy our game." Well, okay, people ain't buying the game now. You know, how about you stow all that shit and let the game speak for itself? You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. You know what? I'll stop myself. I was about to go on a huge rant right now. I'll stop, but like, just don't do that. So I think because of those crazy ass remarks, and let's just be honest too, because of the fallout that is still going on because of Battlefront 2, Star Wars Battlefront
yep.
2. I think people
Oh,
are
yeah.
like, nah, we're gonna just wait and see on this one. You know, the thing about like this, yesterday they announced that the battle royale mode isn't gonna be included for months. No one gave a fuck. No one cared. You know,
I didn't even
Oh,
hear that news, to be honest with you.
see, that's what I'm saying. No one gave a fuck. Like if this game was really hotly anticipated, and if that battle royale mode was really like sought after, people would have screamed. You know how people are on the internet; they bitch about everything.
yeah.
No one gave a fuck. What does that tell you?
That I guess that depends when that announcement was made because they were probably standing outside their local GameStop waiting to get Red Dead Redemption 2 when this announcement was made. So that's a possibility.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. It's crazy, man. It's just funny to me how these companies are like out there, trying to like jump on the bandwagon, like you said, Gary, but no one's really caring anymore,
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, I think consumers are a lot smarter now. So it's like if one thing becomes really popular and does well, like you can't just make a clone of it and expect to also do well. Like I think customers now want variety more and more. So yeah, I think it was a bad idea to try and base that game on the Destiny kind of model.
Yeah, but that's what it is, though. It's like because a lot of the people that are in charge of decision making, I'm just gonna say they're idiots. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. They see, oh, that's successful. We're gonna do that too. And then the creative people are like, oh shit, we got to listen to this now because they pay our checks.
Yeah.
That's true. No,
It's
you're right.
sad, man.
Oh, you're absolutely right about that. No doubt about
But it's like I'll say this: I'm curious to see what Anthem's gonna be about, but I'm definitely not excited for it.
it. Well, hey, hopefully we will get some hands-on time with the game before.
Yes.
Yeah, they have to give us hands because I know I was looking to try to get that at E3 and that was unsuccessful when I heard you have to have an appointment. So maybe we will get to try it out and see what it's like when they have more to show early next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, if you had an appointment at the Nvidia booth, you could have played Anthem.
Ah, see, okay, that's interesting.
That was the workaround. And a funny thing is, and I learned this after the fact because I did have an appointment to see Tomb Raider at the Nvidia booth. I had no idea that literally right next door was Anthem. I could have just went in there and played it, but nobody told me that.
Jeez, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. Well, we'll see. There will be some opportunities, I would guess, but we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, but I think we're gonna get to play it, and we'll see what's up.
Oh yes, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Okay, so let's move on to the next topic. We got two other quick topics to cover, and I know you guys already spoke about this on the throwdown, but we definitely have to talk about this MPD for September 2018.
Oh yeah.
So so
This is an MPD that I don't think shocked anybody. You knew who was gonna win, man.
oh no, I'm definitely not shocked with the number one choice on this list, but there are some of these other ones that are a little interesting to see some of this stuff on the list. So I'm gonna start at number 10, NHL 19. Number 9 was Super Mario Party. Number 8 was Destiny 2. Number 7 was Forza Horizon 4. Number 6, Madden NFL 19. Number 5, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Number 4, FIFA 19. Number 3, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Number 2, NBA 2K19. And of course, number 1, not only the best selling game for September, but according to what I have heard, the best selling PS4 exclusive in quite a while, and that is Marvel's Spider Man. So, first and foremost, I will say, Gary, if you were still on the fence about whether or not you should get Marvel Spider-Man, hopefully, do these numbers convince you that you need to consider getting this game?
Oh yeah, I'm already gonna get it at some point. It's just my schedule. I haven't had much time to play games anyway, so I've just kind of held off on it. But it's definitely high on my to-do list. As soon as I get some time, definitely playing that. Hopefully, like I'm gonna play that before I get Red Dead, because that's another game I need to get too. But yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised by this at all. I mean, it's Spider Man and it's an exclusive, so people are gonna go out and get this. The thing that does surprise me is that Destiny 2 is still on there. That surprised me.
Well,
But
no, I mean,
yeah,
we do know some people that are still heavily playing Destiny 2, correct?
Oh yeah, I see him on my timeline. you know.
Yeah. So that's I guess, and then of course that expansion that they released, I believe that was in September. So that's
that
I think
explains it.
yeah, the expansion is the reason why that is.
Yeah, I mean, this list, nothing looks out of the ordinary, really, to me. When did Forza come out? Was it September?
No, that was well they had an early yeah you could have played it early if you pre-ordered. I believe that was September. I don't really have the exact date if it was the 28th or it was a week ahead of time, like 4 days before, because it came out officially um the beginning of October, I believe. I would double check that, but yeah, I mean the thing is I don't know when they actually stopped with the actual taking the sales numbers because this it looked like this list. Some of these games should have been they should have been released to NPD for September, but it feels like they took into account some of October, but I don't know when they officially stopped to record the numbers. Because some of these games on here, I'm a little surprised that they're on this list. So that's
Yeah,
interesting.
like the timing seemed a little weird for the NPDs. Like I don't know, NPDs for the last couple months have been like just dropping at like random times. Like before, it used to be like clockwork, like every Thursday, second week of the month, and then it started just switching around.
Yeah,
But
because this
one
is
one
like
thing
the
I
annual.
that we should note too is Spider Man is now the third highest selling game of the year, literally in 1 month.
Wow,
In 1 month. See that, Gary? Yeah,
wow,
that's crazy.
that's a big achievement, man. Did you guys think it's a game of the year worthy, or well, I know you guys have been playing Red Dead, so that
Well, this is going to
uh,
be
it's probably
yeah,
a
we
hard
definitely
decision.
this is going to be a very tough when we have our show of the game of the year. This is going to be a very interesting show because there's a couple of games that will probably get mentioned. But to answer your question about game of the year right now, I mean, I don't know, man. It's difficult for me to say for sure it's game of the year. It is hands down, in my personal opinion, it could be the best. Well, that's a question for you guys because I believe you both finished God of War.
Yeah.
Would you say it's better than God of War, or it is the best PlayStation 4 title of 2018.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this. It's kind of hard because the both games are so different from one another, you know. But I'm gonna have to ultimately go with God of War is the better PlayStation exclusive, but I don't know if it's gonna win because Spider-Man is more popular. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's true. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but no, God of War, I think is the better game because even though Spider-Man is fantastic, it is basically like an enhancement of Spider-Man games we've seen before. God of War is like completely reinventing the wheel, in some respects.
That's true. And I believe that the Metacritic is around 93 or 94 for God of War. So that's yeah, I know that game is right up there with Red Dead in the 90s. So it's I totally get that. But the question about the game of the year, yeah, it's hard for me to answer that question right now. But I will say this: I am glad that Marvel Spider-Man is at the top of the list. As you both have already said, it's not really a surprise because we already knew that this game was going to be a success. Spider-Man, a well-known character, very popular with a lot of people. So we already knew right off of that it was going to sell. And then, of course, everything we saw of the game was fantastic. The only real criticism that I would have about Spider-Man is that I hope when they release the inevitable sequel in the future, and we go to future E3 presentations or Sony presentations, that they do not show too much of the game, because I feel like with Spider-Man, man, we saw a lot of the a lot of the action set pieces. We saw that stuff
Yeah.
in the actual demonstrations. So then when it got to the game, I mean, it was still exciting, but I kind of wish I wouldn't have seen that because I would have been more excited if I was just started playing and then I saw, oh, this is what happens right now. So that's the only criticism that I would make. But at the same time, the game is fantastic. So I'm glad that it is number one on this list without a doubt. Um, so one final question I wanted to ask before we move on to the final topic is, um, which games do you guys think will remain on this list for the October NPDs?
That's a good question.
That's a good question. Yeah.
I mean, Spider Man definitely, probably NBA because it's basketball season.
Yep.
Probably FIFA, probably all the sports games.
Yeah, I was about to say
Um,
that all the sports games are going to carry over, obviously.
yeah,
And then obviously, Super Mario Odyssey and Legend of Zelda are going to carry over too because they've been there since they launched, basically. Grand Theft Auto is going to be there as always. The perennial in there. I was surprised it dropped down from the 10 list because it's usually in the top 10. You know. Um, but yeah, no, yeah, Spider Man's definitely going to carry over, especially because the DLC just dropped, so people, are excited to play it again. But yeah, the sports game's definitely going to be carrying over. I don't know about Shadow of Tomb Raider. I think that's going to drop off. That's not going to be there anymore.
yeah, I think that'll drop off. I'm not sure about Odyssey though. Is that
Yeah, I'm not
gonna?
sure about that one either. I've heard good things, so maybe it'll stay on. By the way, I also hope it's probably not going to happen, but I also do hope Dragon Quest makes it over
Oh,
because
yeah, that's a very good point because
yeah, that
Brian actually has been playing that too.
yeah, that's a success story because Square Enix said if the game does well, they're gonna because basically they said if the game didn't do well, they're not gonna do any more localizations. But the game did very well, and it's not even on Switch yet. So I think it's safe to say this is gonna we're gonna see Dragon Quest 12 and 13 or whatever, and it's interesting because this is the highest selling game in the franchise history.
Wow,
That's good to hear. Because I
man.
You
definitely
know
want more Dragon Quest games.
So
exactly.
just give me a reminder real quick. How many hours do you have to put into that game to to complete it?
100.
Okay, it's yeah. Go ahead, Gary.
Oh no, I haven't even beat it yet, but like I'm guessing like 100.
Yeah, I mean, I could tell you because the game has two endings. So to get to the first ending, I'm just thinking about me personally. It took me 67 hours, and
Whoa,
and then to get to the real ending, 87 hours.
Whoa. Okay.
And at the moment, because obviously I had to stop because a flood of games came out. when I stopped playing it, I was at around 113 hours. I'm trying to get everything now.
So once you got to the 87, were you closer to the platinum, or did you already get the platinum?
No, I'm not even close to the platinum now. That's why I still got to keep playing. I got to get the platinum
Oh,
now, you know. But yeah, 87 hours roughly to get the actual real ending, you know.
wow, that's a man. That's a lot. That's a lot to have to deal with. But I've heard nothing but positive things. I know Tatiana has said very positive things about it, and she reviewed it as well. So that maybe I will try it at some point, but I have no idea when that's going to be because I have way too many other things I got to finish. But we'll see. Hopefully, yeah, hopefully that does make the MPD list eventually. Um, yeah, the last point I will make in terms of what I will think will stay. Yeah, NBA definitely will stay. Madden will stay. Um, I think Shadow of the Tomb Raider is definitely going to fall into the shadows, unfortunately, because you know there's too many other games. You know, Red Dead will probably be number one. I'm assuming. Um, Call of Duty is going to be on this list also, and that's the other one because the Call of Duty sales have, well, the digital sales have been great. I don't know about the physical sales, but yeah, Call of Duty will be on this list. So, some stuff is going to definitely fall off, but I think Shadow of the Tomb Raider, that's a guarantee. Forza, yeah, I think Forza is going to drop off also, unfortunately. But you know, hey, I could be wrong. I could be wrong because there are too many other games dropping that came out this month that are going to be taken into account on this list. So we'll have to wait and see what that actually is.
Where will Red Dead be? Because I think Red Dead will definitely chart just because it'll probably sell like a ton in the first week or whatever.
Number
Um,
one.
Number one, yeah. I mean, I can see that for
I,
sure.
I,
Yeah, even though it's coming out literally like the last week, yeah, it's gonna be number one. I guarantee you that.
Call
It's
of
gonna
Duty.
be ridiculous.
Oh yeah, no, you know, Call of Duty will probably be number two. It might be number two, number three. It's going to be in the top three, I think. Call of Duty, but Red Dead, I think definitely number one because when I went on Twitter, you know, last night, it's like every picture I saw, people with copies of Red Dead Redemption, and then I go on PSN, my all my friends list is playing this game right now. So I think this is definitely going to be number one. But you know, we'll have to wait and see because I don't know when they're going to release those numbers. I guess the middle of next month or maybe closer to Thanksgiving. That's probably when we'll see those numbers, but we'll have to see about that when the time comes.
Yeah, October and November NPDs are always like the really juicy ones, so I'm looking forward to that.
Oh yes, oh yes, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, Gary, you had any other thoughts you wanted to share before we move on to the final topic?
Nah, nothing else.
All right, so I know you wanted to address this question as the final topic, so I'm going to give you the floor to ask the question. But before you do that, let's get Tony's impressions of Red Dead Redemption 2 so far, because I know I already spoke about mine earlier.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I've only been able to play what 2.5 hours, maybe three. Again, when you start playing this game, you kind of lose track of time. But you know, obviously, I haven't even put a dent in it. But so far, I'm impressed. Like the level of quality that Rockstar puts out there, like it can't be understated, man. Like you could tell it's like, yo, they sunk a lot of money. And I hate to say it, a lot of man hours into this. You know, it like the quality is insane, man. You know, so far, you know, I love how it like, and this not spoilers. Everybody knows how you begin like in this like mountain with all the snow and shit, and you see the snow deforming and all that, and then like when you go down the mountain, like everything's nice and pristine, wilderness, a lot of animals everywhere, and it just feel like you could like almost feel the dirt. You know what I'm saying? When you're walking around town, all that mud and shit. You know, it's crazy, man. And from what I could tell from the combat, it's not too different from the last game. Very similar to just Rockstar games in general. So that's really good. The horses seem like they're easier to control this time around. And but like I said, I haven't really like gone deep into it. But just from the beginning, like even before I even started playing, I could tell this was a high quality product, man. A game that you could tell, yeah, this took 8 years to develop for a reason, you know.
No, you're absolutely right. It definitely took a long time, and Gary will get this also when he does decide to pick up the game, unless of course he will wait for the PC version that will potentially come out next year.
Yeah,
But
I don't think I'm gonna be able to wait that long, man. Like, cause the way you guys are talking about it, like, I want to just hit up Amazon right now and get it on Prime, like, so it delivers tomorrow or something. But
I just want to give a quick shout out to Mr. Adam Vale because he called me today talking about this game. So
Yo.
yeah, yeah, just everybody is excited. So yeah, I understand the hype. The hype is real and it is validated. Okay, Gary. Now you can ask the question you wanted to ask us regarding Red Dead Redemption 2.
okay, this might be a little bit of a crazy question, but just bear with me. So, Red Dead was always like it's kind of been seen as like the secondary Rockstar IP to Grand Theft Auto. Like in between Grand Theft Auto games, you get Red Dead, and it's like but it's looked at as the Western version of Grand Theft Auto essentially. But so my question was for you guys, like, will Red Dead Redemption 2 bump this IP so that it's, basically side by side with GTA and, so that it's just as popular as Grand Theft Auto? Like, is there any possibility that that could happen with this game, do you think?
Hmm.
With this game, there's a possibility, but I honestly think in order for it to be on par with GTA in terms of popularity, you're gonna need at least one more game, because the way this game's like, just being perceived, the next game, the hype for that is gonna be even crazier. I think that's when it's gonna get to GTA levels, But I could be wrong. Maybe this one will actually bump it to GTA levels, but just because of the sheer fact that GTA has been around longer, has more games. It's already going to have that leg up on Red Dead, which is this is technically the third game. I'm going to get people annoyed at me. What about Revolver? But yeah, the legacy isn't there quite yet. But in terms of popularity, I think you need at least one more game. Then it's going to reach that fever pitch.
Right. Because there's going to be the online mode as well. So I
Yeah.
guess that is a big determining factor because if that online is like so good that people become addicted to it, I guess that's something that could push the levels higher, for Red Dead. Like, because if it reaches like Fortnite levels of addiction, then that's something, that's something right there. But
I'm glad you bring that up because and this is just a blind spot I always have, like multiplayer. I never really think about it, but you're 100% right. It's like, okay, maybe like single player wise, because I was speaking at it from that perspective. It's going to take one more game, but yeah, you're right. If the multiplayer of this blows up, yeah, then this game definitely does have the possibility of becoming as popular as GTA. I didn't even consider the multiplayer aspect of it. I'm not even worried about that. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to play the multiplayer heavily, but right now I'm just thinking about the single player. But yeah, you're right, Gary. I think the multiplayer has the potential to really blow this up. Because think about it like this: why do you think GTA 5 is still on MPDs 5 years later? It ain't because of the single player. It's because of the
Mhm.
multiplayer.
yeah,
So yeah, I think so. If the multiplayer of this game is as like hype as GTA 5, we're definitely going to see this game reach those same levels.
oh yeah, for certain. But I really do love that they do it like this to where like they pace it out so you when you first get the game you're just playing the single player and then they release the multiplayer later. I think that's a really good way to do things because then people won't get distracted and they can just enjoy the main game for what it is. So I like that they do that. Um,
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I know I'm just going to call him out. Brett, he's mad. He's actually not buying this game because it has no multiplayer.
wow.
Believe it or not. I'm like, yo, my man, what the fuck?
Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, he's not buying the game at all until he gets multiplayer, which is interesting to me. But to me, I'm like, just me. I'm like, yo, I'm playing this shit for the single player. If I'm gonna, if even if multiplayer was here day one, I wouldn't touch that for another 3 weeks or at least until I finish the main game. You know what I'm saying? It's like the main game is the main reason I'm buying this. I want to get the story, the characters, the world. That's the shit I want. It's like we could blow each other up later. I want the real juice right here. The meat of it, not the snack that the multiplayer is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Rich, what do you think though, regards to the question?
Well, I think my answer is going to be a little controversial. Um, so I agree with a lot of what you both have already said. I think the multiplayer is going to definitely determine how much more successful the game is going to be. Um, but you asked the question, do I think that it will reach GTA 5 sales numbers? And I think that because it is a Rockstar game, absolutely. But I also think that this is a great franchise, but I don't think that this franchise will ever surpass Grand Theft Auto because I know Dan Houser had an interview recently where he said that he was glad that they weren't releasing GTA 6 now because of all the stuff that's going on in the world and they would be concerned about how they were going to hit those topics. Plus, they didn't want to worry about it competing with this game, which is true. But I think he knows Grand Theft Auto is the bread and butter. I mean, that is the franchise that is the top dog for Rockstar. So that'll always be number one. This is a definitely a solid number two. I think even before you even think about this game, I think it's this franchise has already been the number two because I know everybody has been waiting for this game even from the moment that it was announced. They had been wondering as well, and they also wonder what happened to other Rockstar games like Bully and stuff like that. But this is definitely the number two for them, no doubt about it. Because even when they had the sales of the first game, they had said, "Well, this is probably definitely going to be a new franchise for us." They had established that this was going to be another strong franchise in their portfolio, so that's a good thing. But I definitely think it's going to do well sales wise. I do think that the Wild Wild West theme, I don't know how many people actually like that type of theme or that type of setting. So that's why I do feel that there may be some that may pick it up because they have friends that are picking up the game and because it's a Rockstar game, but they may not really know too much about the Wild West or care too much about it. But I will say this that the game, what I have played so far in the story, and I'm not going to reveal any spoilers, but how they put things together so far, it definitely draws you in. It's a very immersive world. So I could see a lot of people who really aren't into westerns pick this game up, and then all of a sudden they will be 100% sold on them. At least for how Rockstar has handled it in this particular game. So, do I think it will be successful? Absolutely, without a doubt, hands down. Do I think it's going to reach GTA 5 sales numbers? I'm not quite sure if it's going to reach the top of those numbers. It may come very close, and it very well may surpass them. I could be wrong, but it definitely depends on what they offer in the online mode because they have to think about the online differently because it is a different setting, a different time period. And so I'm very curious to know what they have planned for Red Dead Online because when I think about what they have offered in GTA and how they continue to put stuff in GTA Online, it just really is fantastic. So I'm very, very curious to see what they're going to have in Red Dead Online because that's going to determine how much longer people are going to keep playing this game after they finish the single player story. So
Yeah, just one quick thing though, because the question was, will this game ever reach like the same level of GTA? I think it can with as far as popularity goes, but if Gary, because I thought he was going to ask this, if he asked, is the game going to surpass GTA? My answer would be, like you said, no, it would never would. Just because of the fact that westerns are kind of niche. Like people like modern shit. That's what they like. Even futuristic stuff doesn't sell as well as modern stuff. Like if you had GTA Future, that wouldn't be as well. You look at what happened with Call of Duty when they did that. So yeah, no, it'll never surpass it. But it could potentially reach the same level of popularity as GTA. But I do think it'll be relegated to number two status, which isn't a bad thing. If you're second to like the biggest game ever, that still makes you a pretty big game too. You know what I'm saying? But
Okay.
no, but just to say, just on that specific question, no, it'll never surpass GTA. That's not happening ever.
Yeah, like I don't think it will outsell GTA at all. Like I don't think that's possible. But but yeah, I do think one thing like I think this game because you guys said people might not be into westerns and stuff like that. I think this game has the power to actually get people into westerns because that's what happened to me with the first Red Dead Redemption.
Hmm.
Because I was never
Yeah,
really into the whole Western theme. Like I found them like boring, like the movies and stuff like that. But that game actually made me more interested in Westerns, and to the point where I started seeking out Western content. So I think that's the power that this game has as well. And if that starts to happen on a grander scale, then that could set new trends and train gamers to like those kind of things. So um, that's pretty cool that a game like this has the power to do that.
yeah, no, that same thing with me. I never really messed with westerns like that. But even Red Dead Redemption, when I almost didn't get the game, I'm like, nah, I don't like westerns. I don't like westerns. But I was like, I don't fuck with these. I don't fuck with these things. But then I was like, Tony, it's Rockstar, bro. It's Rockstar. So I got the game, and obviously it changed my whole tune. But the thing is, like, I still can't I can't say I'm a Western fan exactly because they're like I'll watch some of the westerns that inspired this game, but some of the John Wayne stuff I still think is corny. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I gotta really mess with that shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, but like Good and the Bad and the Ugly, which I did, see after Red Dead, I was like, this is a great movie. Like I want to watch those Clint Eastwood ones. I'll definitely check those out. And those like kind of like dirtier, grimier, more realistic westerns I'll check out. But like the older shit, like, oh, let's fight them engines. Like, I don't know. That's corny.
Yeah.
Hey partner, we gonna have a duel. Like, nah, son.
Yeah, I know Rich likes those.
No,
Yeah.
no, about that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I actually saw a Western recently, and a movie that just came out, just so happened to come out close to this, called The Sisters Brothers. That's more so like a comedy. Not
Yeah.
re- There's some action in it, but it's a comedy, and then it takes a couple of different twists, some very dire twists with the characters. But it was okay. But I saw that, and I was thinking, man, when is Red Dead coming out? Because I want to play Red Dead. So
you know.
definitely influenced that. So I think you make a very good point that there's some people that may play this and be interested in westerns afterward. I think that's absolutely possible. Um, but the game definitely will be successful. I think that's definitely, absolutely, positively going to happen. And as far as whatever happens with Red Dead Online, that will continue to determine how much more success it gets over time. But I think it definitely already. Well, I guess we can already say it is a success even before we see sales numbers because everybody picked up this game. Everybody and their mama picked up this game. So it's yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing how it's received when we actually get the figures. Yeah, but so any other points you wanted to bring up, Gary, about this topic, or are we now ready to wrap up?
I mean, yeah, let's wrap it up so you guys can go play Red Dead. And I need to go order it or something. So yeah.
Okay, yes, absolutely. So thank you all for joining us tonight for special episode of the Co-op Podcast. I definitely want to thank Tony for joining us this week. Um, and Tony, how about you give your shout outs? Yeah, the floor is yours for shout outs.
Yeah, obviously shout out to the fans, supporting the coalition, throwdown, everywhere we go. We're both of us are expanding to different places, which is pretty cool, pretty exciting. So, we have our core fan bases, a lot of cross pollination. They follow us everywhere, which is really, really cool. So I want to, just give them a shout out as always, man. And shout out to Rockstar too, man. Fucking Red Dead Redemption, man. It's awesome.
Absolutely, I agree. I agree 100%. Shout out to Rockstar. Yeah. Uh, Shout out to all the fans that continue to support, as well as shout out to you in the throwdown as well, because I know that you guys also just gave away a copy of Red Dead Redemption 2 as well. So,
Oh
uh,
yeah, we did that live last night, man. That was good. My man was even in the chat room, which was fantastic.
oh, that's a perfect gift. Absolutely, perfect gift, perfect timing. He was there too, so that's
Yeah,
awesome.
he was there and he wanted digitally. It all worked out perfectly.
Oh man,
He had his game in minutes.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, definitely. Well, hey, everybody, definitely check out that game and definitely stay
Oh,
tuned.
hold on quickly. I do want to give a shout out because I'm not gonna get into it now, but I want to give a huge shout out to my man J City. He got banned from Twitter because of some fanboys. A lot of bullshit happened. So
Oh,
shout out to him, man. Remember we met him, at PSX. Well, him and all day.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he got banned because of some Xbox fanboys. Not good. It's like these guys take this console stuff way too serious. So shout out to my man.
Man, I was
Wow,
wondering
that's
what
messed
happened
up.
with him because I did see him tweet a lot of stuff. He always tweeting stuff online, so I
Yeah,
didn't nothing happened with that. Yeah, we definitely want to give him a shout out. Hopefully that gets resolved.
Yeah, I hope he
Yeah,
gets his account back.
yeah, right. Yeah, because that guy's awesome. Like he's always given. I don't know what he does for a living, but my man makes money. So he's giving like Xbox access away to people. He does that shit.
yeah,
Like he trolls. Don't get me wrong, but he does a lot. He does a lot more for the Xbox community than these Xbox fanboys on their podcast do. I'm just saying.
oh, you're right. You're right. Absolutely, I can confirm this. 100%. Yeah, so definitely give a shout out to him. Hopefully that gets resolved. And Gary, the floor is now yours for shout outs.
Oh yeah, so big shouts to our Patreon people, M. Collins, Mauricio Aguilar, Himdil, Fergus Mills, Miguel, Antonio Rogers, and Sean Gority. Big thanks for all your support. I also want to shout out Reggie, Joey Salas, Fergus, Mike Masters, and Christopher Hart, who all joined us in the chat today. So thanks for coming by and discussing all these topics with us and everything. And of course, a big shouts to Tony for joining us as well. And we got to say a big thanks to him because of him we're trying to upgrade the show a little bit,
Absolutely.
by streaming on these different platforms and everything like that. So big shouts to Tony and thanks for all the support and everything. And yeah, shouts to the whole coalition staff as well and the throwdown, all the throwdown people
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Everybody, we're all working hard to bring you content, people. Good content.
for sure.
Absolutely. Yes. 100% agreed. So thank you all for listening to tonight's show. Enjoy yourself some Red Dead Redemption 2 or Spider-Man this weekend. And we'll talk to you all next week.
Peace out, people.